11 minutes past 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The 28th of December 2024. Just a few days for a brand new year. Not many things will change if you don't decide on the change. So it's a good opportunity to start, especially career wise, because this is a career show, to start on a new page or maybe pick up the momentum from where you left things off. But there is no need for you to go back to the bad habits. You know what bad habits I'm talking about? You know. This is Career Compass, and I welcome you into my company. And thank you for choosing Al Ansar as your best companion. The show takes place every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, I believe. So do follow the Al-Ansar page, or you can just go through it, browse through, and then you'll be able to see me there all smiley and cute. Say mashallah, by the way. Shout out to Monty, who is the tech on duty. If you have not yet made your way to the Durban Summer Souk Festival, where are you? Where are you? Because that is where it is happening. That is where everybody is. The crowd is amazing. The turnout has been great so far. But we still got a few more days, actually a lot more days to go. So you can still make it with your family, your friends, your relatives, your whole neighborhood. Everybody's welcome. We've got a big place to accommodate everybody. There's the Kiddies Entertainment Center. There's lots of food stalls. There's clothing. There's I don't know what you're into, but there is definitely something for everybody there. Speaking about clothing and fashion, we were doing a makeover challenge, me, Razia, and Shagufta, for the past 3 days. The response has been great to the point that we decided to grow it to a bigger audience on the Darwood Kitchen. If you've been to the souk, you know where it is. If you haven't, it will be easy to ask info and they'll direct you there. So that's going to be on the 2nd. On the 2nd of January, we will be doing the final, the grand finale makeover challenge at the Darwood Kitchen. It's going to be in the evening around 6 or 7, and we are really looking forward to seeing you there because there'll be lots of lessons that you can learn. You know, I'm all about empowerment, education, that kind of thing. That is why we have this show, a show that brings to you the latest that is happening both locally and globally, that brings you career advancement, soft skills, as well as you as an individual, how to grow. So personal development is something to look forward to here on the show. Speaking about personal development, today I'll be joined by one of my faves, okay, Rabia Carvalho, and I'll tell you so much more right after this.
We'd love to meet you. Pay us a visit. Radio Unsung.
As heavy snow and bitter winds descend on Gaza, Palestine, hundreds of displaced refugee families struggle to survive the winter without adequate shelter or clothing. The harsh weather threatens lives. Donate towards AMA's winter rescue campaign to provide food, fuel, and shelter to the families in Gaza, Lebanon, and Afghanistan to survive the elements and provide home to those in need.
Shade Orchard Shade brings you Pure Fair with up to 50% off on all items. Avail the most exciting offers of the year from 19th December to 29th December. Visit our store or shop online at the8.HM.com. Create Slice of Life campaign. Since its inception, our Slice of Life has touched the lives of countless individuals throughout distribution to schools, old age homes, orphanages, and deserving families within our community. This initiative has been instrumental in for only 9 months alone, you will be providing a family with their daily staple bread. Donate now on www.alansar.org.za or call outreach on 031 208 1601.
They convinced the world to believe that terrorists look like beards and thobes. Now, as the facade cracks, One martyr after another, the world sees through the broken windows and now knows the true face of terrorism. It wears suits and ties and smiles behind lies.
اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الحاقدين اللهم أعد المسجد الأقصى إلى رحاب المسلمين اللهم وطهر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك يا قوي يا متين اللهم منزل الكتاب مجري السحاب هازم الأحزاب سريع الحساب اهزم اليهود وزلزلهم يا قوي يا عزيز.
You've arrived at your destination.
You're listening to Korea
Woke up with the light, the sky so blue above my eyes. With it back the heart, today is another brand new start. I feel so positive, just wanna do my best to show this world I'm living in all of the love that I can give you. There are many things that I can do, many things, yeah. You make me feel so close to you. Within my heart, get me removed. Within my heart, when I love you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every day's a good day. I put my life in your hands, oh love. You will always lead my way. Oh, every day's a good day. I give my life to you, oh love. You will always lead my way. I love this morning breeze. Love how it purifies my soul. I'm so glad to be surrounded by the people I know. Filled with happiness. Just wanna give my all and be all that I can be. Share all my love and energy. Yeah, many things that I can do. Many things, yeah, can make me feel so close to you. Within my heart, can be removed. Within my heart, love it, love you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every day's a good day. I put my life in your hands, oh love. You will always lead my way. Oh, every day's a good day. I give my life to you, oh love. You will always lead my way.
سبحان الله ملك الكون لو رفع الله مكان يكون كنت أمري ديما وكل يوم سبحان الله ملك الكون لو رفع الله مكان يكون كنت أمري ديما وكل يوم
Oh, every day is a good day, and today is a good morning, a beautiful Saturday morning, and that's the theme for the day. That's the order of the day, okay? Today is Mahar saying good day. Every day is definitely a good day. We thank Allah for the gift of life. Now, last week, Saturday, because we do try to provide you with valuable information here on the show and you talk about side hustle, I mentioned matchmaking. Not once did I think that somebody would approach me and ask me to be the first client for the matchmaking. And what's best is that the auntie told me, hey, it's going to be free. And that was so cute, honestly. That was so cute. So at this segment, so much for everybody that's coming up to the presenters, and I speak on the behalf of all presenters, to greet us, to hug us, to give us the feedback and the compliments of the amazing work that we do. Sometimes we just think it's our job and that's all, but the impact that we create only show because we can't hear ourselves from a listener's perspective. We hear ourselves from a speaker perspective, and that's different side of the spectrum. So thank you for the feedback. I really do appreciate that. Keep them coming. Yeah, keep them coming. Nobody's ever gotten rid of compliments or ever gotten tired of it. So I'm not going to be the first. But it was so cute to see an auntie that came up to me. Please forgive me, I forgot your name. I'm trying to recall, but if I do recall the name, I'll definitely send you a shout out. Thank you for the biggest hug ever when she told me that. I listened to your show. And you said, the aunties that know everything about everyone should start a matchmaking service. I was thinking, since you're not married, why don't you be my first matchmaking person? And I was like, oh wow, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank you for listening. At least you did listen to the show. So I really do appreciate those kind of feedback. The next thing that we're going to speak about is side hustle. We're going to skip that for now and move on to soft skills. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about. Soft skills that are needed in any and every workplace. Last week, I'm not sure if we mentioned about self-doubt being a thing in the workplace in many organizations where you find employees that are not willing to speak up, they're not willing to suggest ideas because they doubt themselves, they think they're not confident enough, but they also criticize themselves a lot and think that they might be stupid, maybe they will figure it out on their own without me. You are there in that organization to contribute to growth. So never ever should you think that something that could lead to at least a step further is stupid. Well, there are some things that some people say that are very stupid, but never mind. You are a valuable member of that organization. The first thing you need to remind yourself is self-doubt, once it starts taking away opportunities from you, you need to work on it. You need to work on it. And the way to work on that will be to have self-confidence. So self-confidence will be the soft skill for the day that we pick for this week. How do you have self-confidence? Self-confidence is simple. It's the ability to believe in yourself, even potential success. Okay, you have a plan. You need to honestly, you need to confide. Don't confide in anybody. You have a plan. You need to believe in it. You need to believe that, inshallah, it will be successful. And just that little tiny hope will give you confidence. Also, the to-do list that I always talk about here. Once you get into the habit of having a to-do list and you get to tick off what you said you were going to do, or what you jot down that you were going to do, it gives you some sort of self-confidence. It gives you the assurance that you carry out what you say you will do. And it's little things like that that help you to speak positive to yourself and think positive about yourself. So try and work on that. I can give you a few tips that I've applied to, but I'm not a master at this. Um, Try and find something that you're really good at. Okay, if you are good in communication, if you're good in writing, if you're good in listening, if you're good in, I don't know, just find what you're good at and use that as a skill that's going to enhance your confidence. Of course, practice makes perfect, so you need to constantly seek constructive feedback. The key word here is constructive. Don't just be asking anybody to give you feedback. Some people will give you feedback because it is you, not because it's the work that you're doing. They're judging you, as an individual, and it's always personal instead of professional. So do stay away from that, but always be open-minded. Attend workshops, seek mentorship, take small steps always towards the bigger picture, which is growth. Very important to have goals. Okay, you have to have goals. You cannot just be an employee at work and you're just happy to be there. Year in, year out, you are in the same position, same mindset. you don't want to grow as an individual. You're depriving yourself as well as everybody around you from a version of you that is very um, valuable in the community, in society, from a you that is impactful. And you don't want to do that, you know. So set goals this year. I would want to, what would you want to do in your workplace? You know, learn a new skill, maybe learn financing or accounting. I failed that subject, so I'm not going to go into that. But figure out what you want to do and how you want to grow, okay? Not the dirty politics, please. Not the dirty politics, but just something that you will develop as a human being that is valuable, that you can apply even outside the workplace. Wherever you go, you will be that person who brings positive energy. So surrounding yourself with positive people, with positive influence, taking care of your well-being, celebrating your achievement is also great. It's a way to build your self-confidence. I might go on and on about this, but I'm not. So I'm now going to speak to you about a subject that is close to my heart. And this fits into the show, Career Compass, because it's not just about the well being of your position or your status, but also as a human being. Okay, when I speak about well being, I mean as a whole, you as a whole, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There is something that has been affecting a lot of people in the workplace, and not many have the energy, nor the voice, nor the confidence to speak out against this. But I did receive a few feedbacks as well from last week and the week before, and I tried to ignore this topic because I've also fallen to be a victim of it. Then I said to myself, you know what, Cal? Let's just say it. Let's just say it. Let's just say it. Okay, so we're gonna say it. Discrimination in the workplace. Yeah, the elephant in the room. You're probably thinking, Cal, it's the holiday season. Can't we talk about this in January? No. We need to talk about it now so that in January we'll start on a key sheet. Okay. Discrimination in the workplace is something that is very severe, that is very serious, but it is illegal. It is illegal. That's what I want to say. So if you're an employer who is practicing this and you're fully aware, because people are telling you, there is feedback. Don't tell me there's no feedback. Nobody's ever at least told you, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Yeah. At least whisper it under the breath, like, what you're doing is wrong. Don't tell me nobody's ever said that to you. You know very well. You're just using your power to. Just got a message now from somebody who wanted me to read a post last week. But before we do that, I want to inform you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give us the power so that we could abuse one another. Okay? Doesn't matter what position you're in. If you use that position, that power, that influence to make somebody feel miserable, to make somebody feel horrible, to make somebody regret existing, you will be answerable. You will be answerable. That is all I'm going to say. I'm not going to dive deep into this topic. I've already got enough eyes on me. Now, speaking about well-being, up next we'll be speaking to Rabia Carvalho, who is a woman of many hats. So she is a marketing expert. She is an author. She is a counselor. You know, has been with social work as a social worker with experience, with over 30 years of experience, and she will be speaking to us about a book as well as how to heal from traumatic relationships and how to live life mindfully. Okay, especially with all this busyness that happens around us, we need to restore our inner peace so that we don't react to certain things and people. Right after this. Career compass.
There's nothing quite like the taste of a traditional family meal, and at the heart of every great dish is a key ingredient that brings it all together. That ingredient is Sunfoil pure sunflower cooking oil, made from only the finest sunflower seeds. It's a perfect way to enhance the taste of your family's favorite foods. Sunfoil cooking oil is more than just oil. It's the key to bring your family together over a delicious meal and making every bite taste better. Remember, the key ingredient to a great family meal is sunfoil. Tradition just tastes better.
Razia, have you heard about the Durban Summer Souk? It's happening from the 24th of December to the 5th of January at the Durban Exhibition Centre.
Wait, 300 stalls, local and international shopping? That sounds amazing. But what else is there? I mean, it's summer. We need some fun.
Oh, it's much more. There's food stalls, everything from pizza to sushi to street food. I'm already planning to have a little cheat day.
Food is definitely a win. But I heard there's entertainment every day too. Tell me this carnival rides. You know I love a bit of nostalgia.
Yes, carnival games, fanfare rides, the whole shebang. It's got something for everyone. Kids, families, even us grown-ups who want to just relive our childhood.
Okay, you've convinced me. And don't forget the prizes they're giving away. I could totally use a new handbag or maybe even a weekend getaway.
Right. Imagine walking away with a huge prize and a full belly of food. Plus, it's open from midday to midnight, so we can make a whole day of it.
That sounds like the perfect summer plan. Let's do it. Durban Summer Souk, here we come.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
You've arrived at your destination.
You're listening to Career Compass on Radio Al-Ansar. 27 minutes to 10 o'clock. You are on 90.4 FM Radio Al-Ansar. If you are in Durban, 105.6 FM. If you're in PMB, shout out to our PMB listeners and all the PMB listeners that come to this soup. What amazing dedication. We absolutely love you. Even those that come from Johannesburg and elsewhere, we also appreciate you too. And everybody in general, we appreciate you always. And we won't get tired of saying it. So thank you always. All right. Today we are speaking about something that we have introduced, something new that we've introduced on the show, and that is mental health and well-being, because we all understand that working is not just a place where we spend 8 or 9 hours, some people even 12 hours, and others even more than that. It's a place where we come together, we network, we grow, we learn from one another, we relate, but it also carry traces of our home, of our childhood traumas, of everywhere else that we have been. If we are not in a good mental state, we can never be productive. Let's not lie to each other. It can't work. Okay. And we spoke last week or the week before with Hajra, who told us as a victim of, gender-based violence, how that had an impact on her, and how it's very common in many situations, in many scenarios where gender-based violence or any victims of abuse, to be fearful or have this kind of fear, even work themselves. You don't have to be free, but you're not comfortable, you're not confident, you're not certain in your abilities, in your productivity. You deprive yourself again from being your highest self. So today we've got Rabia in the house, whom I'm so excited to speak about, because I don't even know where we're going to begin. Rabia, like I said, is a marketing expert. She's also a personal life coach. Okay, this woman has figured life out, guys. Figured life out. A life coach. Okay, we'll find out if life coaches have figured life out. The last time she told me no, they still go through life just like everybody else, but they've understood it to a certain extent. All right, Rabia is a life coach, and she specializes in mindful living. Okay, Mindful living is something that I cannot tell you enough of how important it is, especially if you are an expert or a professional or you are a work-oriented person, a career-oriented person. You know how important it is. Okay, so we're going to get into that. Rabia is also a counselor with over 30 years of experience in the social work field, and she helps a client heal from trauma through various ways. And she is also a presenter of a Radio Alan Star here for a show called Green Thumbs Up every Sunday around 9 a.m. That's not enough. I'm not done. Okay, Robbie is also an author. And I'm not done. Okay, Robbie is also a beautiful soul. And I'm not done. She also has a gorgeous smile. And I'm not done. She's also here with us. Robbie, assalamu alaikum, and thank you for joining us this morning here on Career Campus. How are you doing?
Walaikum salam. Walaikum salam. Jazakallah for having me. Pleased to be on your show.
Absolutely. Likewise. Now, I would like us to jump right into it. First, I want to speak about your book that you recently launched, A Cult for One. I wanted to understand the motivation behind this book, but I've had that interaction with you. You know, we had a little discussion here and there, and I kind of understood it. But for the listener right now who is listening to us, you launched this book. What motivated you to write this book? What is the initiative or the objective of this book? Can you tell us that?
So the book is called A Cult of One because what happens often with narcissists is they are a cult unto themselves and they view their victims as literally the only member of their cult. And they go about grooming emotionally and psychologically, abusing emotionally and psychologically, and often people don't know what's happening. And, you know, you would think if you're a neurologist, you know if there's something wrong with your brain. You don't. If you're a social worker, you know that you're going through abuse. You don't necessarily, because they are so very, very good at it. Now, over 31 years of being a social worker, my very, very first client was a child. He was 7 years old. He opened up to the fact that he was being sexually abused by a close family member. However, he did so only after setting fire to the curtains in the consulting room and putting the key to the door in his pocket.
Oh, my word.
He literally did not want to survive that because it's so hard to break the silence. But more importantly, it's so hard to realize what you're going through, especially if your brain is working against you. Your own brain is kind of changing to believe that maybe you're the perpetrator. So the book is something that draws on stories from clients. It draws on my own personal experience as a survivor. But it is a manual. It's there to help you to see the wood for the trees. When your brain is telling you something else, and it is focused on intimate relationships, however, you can use that information in thinking about a work situation, because you do get toxic bosses, narcissistic bosses, and sometimes you think, am I just being a team player or am I being manipulated? Am I being controlled? And so the book breaks down what is love bombing, how does it happen, what types of manipulation, what kind of threats, these stories, these quizzes, these tools. And I love what you said at the beginning of your show when you said the people go to work and they're not themselves. Because what happens with abuse is you lose your ability to make decisions, which is essential in the workplace.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask you, when you say manual, but you did answer that, you know, what do you mean, this book being a manual? One question about abuse and, you know, how it steals from your confidence and you as a person. If somebody has gone through healing and they believe that they are certain that they've overcome the situation, is it possible for them to be triggered again and experience maybe flashbacks or a similar situation and just bring it all back?
What a beautiful question, Kelly, because healing is not linear. Take myself as an example. Okay, this book is 3 years in the making. It was 15 years
Hmm.
of going through abuse.
Wow.
Okay. And yet, 3 years later, I feel completely whole. I feel completely healthy. I hold no hatred. However, there are always times when things come up, when you're listening maybe to a client or you're seeing something and it triggers. But the difference with going through a process of healing is that you recognize that you're being triggered. In that moment, you say, oh, hold on. That's bringing up something. Let me use one of my tools to work through this. Because the brain, imagine a jungle. There are pathways. We create pathways by walking that same situation of abuse over and over and over, and they become deeply entrenched pathways. So it's natural when you're walking through the jungle of life that you come across, hey, there's a pathway. I recognize that. But there's a difference between recognizing that you're being triggered and going into a place of emotional dysregulation because of a trigger. The first happens when you've gone through healing. The second happens when you haven't.
Wow. Wow. I actually learned something there. Now, there's a thing called a convert, narcissist, and apparently they have the ability, to merge into certain traits or personalities or whatever, just so that the victims don't have, easy ways to identify them. For somebody who is dealing with a narcissist, for example, and they realize after reading your book that, hey, I'm in this situation, what would be your advice?
So that's a two-part question there. A covert narcissist is one of the 7 different types of narcissisms, and I break it down in the book. So a covert narcissist is someone who is encapsulated by the sentence, you don't know who I am, but you must feel sorry for me. So in other words, it is someone, it's so difficult to spot because you think they have empathy, but every narcissist only has selective empathy. They have empathy only to the people who are going to get them ahead. So a covert narcissist is someone who is abusive, who is controlling, who is manipulative, and no narcissist is doing it all the time, otherwise you would see it. But they swing from being abusive to being, you need to feel sorry for me. For instance, for what I went through in a past relationship, through what I went through as a child. And that becomes a reason for you to have to excuse certain behaviors. And that's the key. Because we all have, different aspects of our personalities that come out at different times. But when you're using situations to cause people to give you preferential treatment and to excuse poor behavior, that's a problem. And so in that relationship, the second part of your question, whether it's a family or a boss or an intimate relationship, you need to, with a covert narcissist, remember to write down what they're saying after that conversation. Because one typical thing about a covert narcissist is that they will draw on your sympathies, feed you the lies, so that later on they can say the lies were your imagination, and how dare you raise something that they told you during a vulnerable moment.
Oh, my word.
Do you see the depth of deception there?
Wow.
So it is a hard one to spot.
Now, the question that we all have been wondering, even though I know you've told me the response to this a few times back, as a life coach, have you guys figured life out? Have you, Rabia, figured life out?
So I don't think anyone's figured life out. If we did, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have taken us to him. However, I want to say there's a difference between a life coach that calls themselves a life coach because maybe they're a public persona, because maybe they like to give advice, and someone who calls themselves a life coach because they actually have training backing what they are doing. Now, for me, I am moving away from the word life coach precisely because of that. So I'm a life empowerment specialist. I'm a social worker. I'm not someone who maybe, I don't know, was a nurse and then helped people for a long time, and so now I give advice. And unfortunately, when people asking for help go to a life coach, they don't necessarily look at their qualifications. Now, you're not going to go to a doctor without knowing if the person is a registered doctor. Everybody nowadays seems to call themselves a life coach. So, and nobody has figured life out. However, when you go through a social work degree, for instance, so I've been through a social work degree for 4 years. I then did a honors cum laude in marketing. So I've done the learning and I've done the walking. This is just to say that when people come to me, I'm drawing on my experience, my qualifications, actual tools that were developed by specialists that are handed down to us through learning in order to be able to assist people. But have we figured it out? We are all in the process of figuring it out until we go to our grave with fear and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Absolutely beautiful way of responding to that question. But Rabia, you said something very beautiful there. Not every person that claims to be a life coach is qualified. All right. Now, with the example you gave out of a doctor, I'm going to ask from a client's perspective. If I go into a hospital as a patient and I find somebody there in the hospital claiming to be a doctor, because of the setting, because of the context, I will assume they are a doctor. The last thing would be for me to ask you, show me your qualification, because I'm in need right now. I'm vulnerable. So I just need solution, you know? So I might say that people who go out seeking for these life coaches, even though they are not, real life coaches or who have experience or qualification, how do you find out? Or what is there that you need to ask? Or like, are they maybe,
I was referring more to when you go and see if you speak to someone at the shop who says that they're a doctor, you go and see someone and there's someone there who says, oh, I'm a doctor, do this and this. Yeah. Because in a hospital setting, one assumes that the directorship of the hospital has already vetted the people that are working there. When you're going to someone who is an independent provider, like I am, typically you say, what qualifications do you have to inform what you do? If they say to you, you know what, I've done a little NLP certificate, or they say to you, well, I used to be a teacher, or they say, oh, you know what, I've worked with many people and I'm a motivational whatever, and all of these things, then you should be seeing some red flags, because narcissists love that kind of position too, hey?
Oh, my.
They do. So get down to it and say, if you're going to a mechanic, you know that, okay, there's all of these cars, he's got a reputation that precedes him. So word of mouth is one thing. Google reviews are a great thing. But ask, you're allowed to say, what qualifications do you have? How do you approach this work? So I would say to you, my approach is behavioral therapy. Okay, I work through Erik Erikson, Kubler-Ross, all of these theorists that I have learned. I've got a 4 years honors degree in social work that I graduated from 31 years ago. I can show you my qualifications. I have client records. I have reviews, not just a social media presence. So do the due diligence, because sometimes you can do more harm than good. For instance, a social worker will give less advice than ever, but they will help you to work out your own situation by reflecting things to you, by showing you, have you looked at it from this perspective? Have you looked at it from that perspective? A run-of-the-mill fly-by-night life coach is going to say, oh, you know what you should do? Let me tell you. There's the difference. Because what works for me is not going to work for you, because you're a unique human being and that should be respected.
Wow. Here's a message that comes in. Says, Salams, lost my eyesight. I'm 60 years old. How do I cope? I want to be strong and positive. Jazakallah so much. Rabia, do you have any comments on that?
Absolutely. Firstly, allow yourself to tell the story, because that grief that lives inside needs to come up and needs to come out. Secondly, understand that for every one of our 5 abilities that we lose, the others become stronger. So I am deeply sorry that you've lost your eyesight, especially people who go blind later in life. It's harder because they have memories of sight, whereas people who are born blind don't know what they're missing. And I wanted to say to you that your memories are beautiful. Hold on to them. But at the same time, don't allow them to keep you completely in that past, because the world is there for you to experience with your other senses, and they're going to be stronger, and you're going to see a beauty that your eyes could never see. Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not have permitted that to be taken.
Wow. I felt that. Here's another message. It says, Assalamu alaikum. I've just realized that I am married to a narcissist, but it is common from the family that I'm from, and I don't think I want to fight this. Am I wrong? Okay, I'm not understanding the question exactly, but Rabia?
No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to fight this because people think that if they are going through abuse, they have to leave.
Oh,
and
yes,
the very
yes.
first thing in my book, and please, I encourage you to get the book, is you do not have to make a decision. All you need is to understand what they're doing, understand how it works, understand the tools, and get some tools in the book to help you to cope while you are still there. Because we are not all at the same place of healing. And not everybody who heals leaves. Some people can't for various reasons.
Wow. All right. Here's another message. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Kelly and Rabia? What an awesome team. Love you both. I love the positivity and advice and vibes. Both are my favorite. Beautiful presenters from Rashida. Jazakallah khair for your message, Rashida. Rabia, there's so much that I want to ask you, but time is not on our side. And I would like us to speak a little bit about marketing, and then we'll be back to your book before we wrap up. Now, as a marketer, here on Career Campus, we normally give advice related to ways that we can embrace technology and grow our businesses. Would you like to comment on that or advise the listener that is listening right now on how to embrace technology, on how can they market their business, or how can they build their brand if one chooses to build a personal brand instead? Or how is a brand, identified or...
Wow. That is such a super question, and we could talk for hours, but here's it in a nutshell. Firstly, marketing is about doing what your competitors do, but better.
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. You need to say that again. Words, I need to write it down.
Do what your competitors do, but better. You have to have a point of competitive advantage. But before you can identify what makes you better, you need to know where you're at. So all marketing begins with an assessment of where you are at right now. There is something called the PESTLE analysis. Look into it, PESTEL, TLE. And then there is something called the Porter's 5 Forces. Also look into it. These are 2 theoretical models that you can apply as an X-ray to look at. It's very easy to do. To look at what your industry looks like. Who are the competitors? What are they doing that I can copy because it's great? It's not like at school where copying is a problem. If they're doing it great, do it. Follow, paint by numbers. And then what aren't they doing that I can offer? Because people make a mistake in thinking that if I'm cheaper, that's going to get me going. Not always. It depends on who your market is. So you look at the industry. You then look at what am I offering? What is my advantage that other people can come through and say, yes, this is better because I am better because what's in it for my client? And then you say, who is my client? Because before you can develop a marketing strategy, you need to know who the competitor are, who you are, how you can do it better, and who are your customers. Once you identify who they are, you know how to reach them. Because if they are elderly people sitting at home, there's no point building an entire social media strategy because that's not where they're at. So then you can begin to develop your strategy depending on your psychographic analysis, which is the mindset, the age, the gender, where they live, demographics, what access they have, whether it's to transport, whether it is to technology. And then you build your strategy around that. A marketing strategy is even easier to put together than a business strategy, but the marketing strategy should inform the business strategy and not the other way around. Because without marketing, you have no business.
Thank you for that. And now back to your book. Where can we find it?
Okay, so at the moment you can reach me, www.raviakarvalu.com, or you can phone me, WhatsApp me, 0784565125. From tomorrow, the book will be at the Al-Ansar Bookstop at the Souk, as well as the bookshop whenever you go to the bookshop, so you can get it there. And from January, it will be on Amazon and Takealot, so it will be everywhere for you.
Awesome.
And you can always contact me, Life Coach Rabia, on all of the socials. Just Google Life Coach Rabia. You'll find me.
I love that. Absolute pleasure having you here on Career Compass with us. Thank you so much.
And for what you're doing, because you're highlighting things that a lot of people otherwise wouldn't be aware of. So it's a brilliant show, and I take my hat off to you.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot. I wish you all the very best. And also, we will do another interview about a topic that I'm going to message you about. All right, perfect. And that is Rabia Carvalho, who is an author, presenter, marketer, and a beautiful woman speaking to us about her book and also marketing tips. I hope you heard that, okay? You are not a business without marketing, so get that right. But the best way to do it is copy from your competitors what is working. I love that line. See what is working from your competitors. Just, go with it. But also ask yourself, what is it that they're lacking that I can improve in? Okay. The best way is to do what? Do what your competitors are doing, but better. That will be the highlight for the day. Okay, that is where we're going to leave it at. Jazakallah so much for those that have been listening. Thank you for the messages. Thank you, Monli, for bringing the tech on duty. I hope to see you all later on at Souk because it begins from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. So you have all the time in the world. Okay, the day is just unfolding. Come at the Souk. I'll be wearing my favorite perfume. Okay. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It has been an absolute pleasure. I will say one thing that I always say every Saturday: find your purpose and leave your mark. Until next time.